Okay, yes, chicken and veggies is bland. However, if you season the food right, chicken and veggies can unquestionably be a very tasty dish. With a little help from others, a la the seasoning we're going to use today, this recipe definitely proves my point. So let's jump into how to make it. Today's recipe revolves around one key ingredient, and that's this thing. A Parmesan Mediterranean seasoning packet that my fiance started using, for which we quickly realized is the bomb. The brand of it is Urban Accents, and the reason I don't mind creating a recipe around it is because I've checked around every major retailer and everyone has it available. So I know the vast majority of you will be able to find it. But if not, you can actually more or less just recreate the seasoning with salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and so on. Although the dried Parmesan part will be a little bit harder to find, but the majority of you guys will be able to find it. So let's cook. The first thing we'll start with is just getting some vegetables in the oven, but first we need to cut them up. I'm going to basically make just an assorted mix of veggies here, for which I'm going to dice up 690 grams of zucchini into little bite-sized chunks, 515 grams of yellow squash, which you can see here I'm just dicing up into similar bite-sized pieces, 250 grams of carrots, which I'm just going to split in half here. I'm just using baby carrots for reference, and then roughly 250 grams of some red onion to finish all of this off. Now I've got all of it into a mixing bowl here, so let's just transfer it over to a baking tray that we'll lightly oil, and then we'll just scatter all of our vegetables over the top here. Now we'll hit this with a little bit more oil, and then we can add in our seasoning. I'm going to take one of these seasoning packets, which you can see here, and I'm just going to sprinkle it all over my veggies. Make sure everything's coated evenly, and it's not totally necessary, but I generally mix everything up here with my hand so that each vegetable is coated all around, but if you just want to leave the seasoning on top of the veggies, that's perfectly fine too. Either way, once everything's mixed well, we'll toss it in a 450-degree oven for about 30 minutes or so, or really until the veggies start to develop some color and are cooked through. All right, now it's time to cook some chicken. I'm going to layer in 3 chicken breasts into a sheet tray here, which amounted to something like 850 grams of chicken breast for me. You can see I flattened them out a little as well so they cook evenly. You don't want one side of the chicken breast being really thick and one side being very thin. Otherwise, they will. You're going to have one dry side and one juicy side, and that's not what you're looking for. We'll hit them with a little oil on both sides, and then similar to the vegetables, we'll take a seasoning packet and sprinkle that over the top of the chicken. And then we'll just repeat this process until all the chicken is seasoning. And make sure you really press that seasoning into the chicken to capture as much as possible so it doesn't fall off. But once you have everything covered, we can go ahead and cook the chicken as normal. Nothing new here. We have a medium-high skillet that's been lightly oiled, for which we can go ahead and place the chicken in because my pan's already hot. We'll let the chicken cook until color is developed on both sides and they reach 165 degrees internally. Fahrenheit, that is. And now that I think about it, well, the air fryer is a convenient option to cook the chicken as well, but you can just cook the chicken with the vegetables in the oven at 450 if you wanted. And I mean, if you have a massive heat tray too, you can basically just turn this recipe into a one-pan meal prep, which would be pretty nice. Evidently, I wasn't thoughtful enough to do this myself, but something to keep in mind on your end if you're looking to save some time. Although, sure, you're not really going to be able to get the crust on the chicken as if you've seared it. Now that all of our chicken is cooked, I'm going to place it onto a plate here and then just set it off to the side. I don't want to cut it just yet because I don't want to burn my fingers. So in the meantime, let's come back to our vegetables, which are looking good and are cooked through to how I like them. And it did indeed take me roughly 30 minutes of cook time to get to this stage for my vegetables, just for reference. I'm going to bring back my mixing bowl here and then just transfer all of my cooked vegetables back into there, which will help for meal prepping later. I don't want to be carrying around a sheet tray, for instance. Alright, so we'll put this off to the side, and then we'll come back to our chicken, which just had some time to rest. Now, I generally cut up all of my chicken right now because I prep everything in one day. But if you prep each ingredient into your serving containers throughout the week, you can just store everything individually and cut it up when needed. For instance, you can cut your chicken up tomorrow if you wanted. And if you do this, you might actually keep the chicken breast a little juicier throughout the week. But I haven't tested that, so somebody let me know if they've done it and how it turned out for them. In any event, I would just do whatever works for you. But with all of our chicken cut up here, we can go ahead and meal prep. Alright, so the first thing we'll do is just go in with our chicken, and most of you guys know how I like to do this. We've done it a number of times. I'll keep the chicken on one side of each container like so. We'll just try to nestle it in onto one side there. And then the next thing we'll do is just take our vegetables and then we'll place those onto the other side of the bowl as well. Now the special ingredient to this recipe is I'm going to take 30 grams of freshly grated Parmesan and sprinkle that over the top of everything here at the end, which will obviously work really well with that seasoning packet we used. But once the Parmesan is now added, your meal prep is done. You can kick your feet up, enjoy the rest of the day, watch some football, hang out with friends, or however you prefer to spend your time on the weekends. Here's the ingredient list for the recipe. We'll have this posted on our website as well as our Instagram page, so give us a follow if you're ever over there. But thanks for watching, everybody. It really does mean a lot, and stay tuned for more recipes ahead.